Hey everyone, my name's Calvin and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at Titan Quest 2. This has just released into early access, so I guess if early access is not for you, then maybe this is one to keep an eye on for the future. So the Titan Quest games are all based on Greek mythology, so you get all the gods and the creatures that kind of went along with that. The first game was quite a lot of fun. It's pretty old now, and it's been a long time since I played it, but when I seen this one coming up, I was interested in it and wanted to give it a go. They plan on early access to last until about the end of 2026. Again, you never know if that's going to hold fast or if they're going to kind of go past that. All depends how this early access development goes, I guess. There seems to be quite a lot of content to the game already, but they're definitely planning to add more. They've hinted on there's going to be like a full character customization. There's going to be more kind of skill trees to use, more masteries. There's going to be a lot more of the world to explore as well. It's a semi-open world where, the chapter you're in, you're free to roam around where the hell you want. And then obviously the next chapter, you kind of move on to the next part of the world. So yeah, let's jump in and take a look. Just a quick note, this game does have multiplayer, but it's very unstable at the moment and very early access. There's warnings when you go to start it up and everything. So today we're just going to be looking at the single player side of things. Character creation is very basic at the moment. You just got a load of presets to choose from. As I mentioned, this is on their roadmap to do full character customization, so we'll just have to wait and see what that looks like. I mean, there is a full story intro to this, but I've skipped that out. I want to leave that, for you guys to discover and experience. I don't want to give away too much. So we'll just look at the gameplay here today. There's a couple of different control schemes you can choose. The classic ARPG mouse one, or you can do WASD as well. I started off with WASD, but it's a bit clunky at the moment, so I did switch back to the classic kind of control scheme in the end. Now we look at the inventory, standard kind of action RPG stuff. You got 2 different weapon sets, use different types of armor and so on. Obviously your stash is at the bottom when you start looting stuff, and obviously you got your health and mana down the bottom. And yeah, it's basic classic layout for an action RPG. I looted a bow early on, so I was going to stick with archery for a bit. Now, combat is a bit slower than your average kind of action RPG, but it actually fits really well. And you still got to be careful. You can still die pretty fast if you're not keeping an eye on what's going on. There's a decent variety of enemies already in the game, from little animals like crabs to different types of humanoid creatures as well. So it's kind of fleshed out already, from what I've gathered. I've played about an hour and a half of the game so far, and I'm quite enjoying it. And like I mentioned before, it's kind of like a semi-open world, so you've got to kind of explore your areas to, because there can be quite a lot of different secrets hidden away in different places for you to get new loot and so on. So it's definitely worth exploring the areas you're in as much as possible. The game looks nice as well. The graphics are pretty decent. I mean, they don't hold up too much if you zoom right in, but from this distance they look nice and crisp. Performance isn't the best, as you can see here in the top left hand corner. I'm getting about 75 FPS. Now, in some areas that was dropping down to 50. Now, I obviously running this game kind of maxed out with DLSS on my 5080 at 4K, so you would expect I'd be able to run this game pretty well, but yeah, there's definitely a few performance issues here, and hopefully they'll get that fixed during early access. I did see that the game does have full frame gen support as well, so it goes up to 4 times, I think. So that might help a bit, but I'm not a big fan of frame gen. It brings in too many artifacts, even with a 5080. Anyway, back to the game itself. To start with, you're kind of getting introduced to the game with some basic combat, killing some basic crabs, learning how to dodge a bit, getting some loot and so on. There's a lot of different types of weapons already in the game, from bows to short swords to daggers to big axes and so on. So there's a lot of variety already in the game. And that's quite refreshing for a game that's just gone into early access, because if you look at like Path of Exile 2, they didn't even have all their weapon types in the game, mainly because the weapon types were linked to kind of the skill classes, I guess, in that. But yeah, still, it's nice to have a big selection in this already. And when you first level up, you get some attribute points to spend. Now you got 4 main attributes, which are agility, vigor, might, and knowledge. And when you level up those specific ones, they'll level up some adjacent minor skills as well. So like agility has fitness and cunning, but knowledge will also level up cunning as well. So you can put points in different places to kind of flesh out your character how you want it to be. The attribute point side of things isn't super complex. It's quite easy to understand and get into, which is pretty good. Some action RPGs can be very complicated and very hard for someone new to get into it. I think this is pretty, not simple. There's a lot of depth to it, but it's easy to understand. A bit further into the game, you actually get to unlock your first mastery. Now, your masteries are obviously kind of skill sets for your character. You get to choose a couple in the game, so you can mix and match a few. And then you have your core skills as well, which are the weapon that you're using at the time. So we'll preview a couple here. You see, it opens up different skill options. You have to start at the bottom and work your way up. And I'm probably going to go with the warrior here because I wanted to go archery, but there's not a rogue type. Well, the rogue one is there, but there's not a ranger type class. But the warrior or the warfare one, he does have archer skills in there, so I'm going to go with this. And the skills you select here, basically you can put extra points into them and kind of modify them in different ways. So the main skill I select here is kind of like a spinning slash skill. And if you invest more points into it, you can actually turn it into a full-on whirlwind attack. And you can see the different upgrade options when you go into the skill like this. There's a lot of different options to choose, so you can customize it in a lot of different ways. This page is split up into two. So the left-hand side is like skills you can trigger. The right-hand side are buffs, permanent buffs that are always on you. Now, the permanent buffs you can upgrade as you go along, but you can't modify them in any way, like the attack skills. And then you can also put points into your like weapon attacks as well, like for instance the bow attack here, and you can modify them in similar ways and have your bow attacks do totally different things depending on where you put points into it. And that's just the default attack. So yeah, there's a lot of depth to the skill system, and I think it's going to lead to a lot of different type of builds. And it looks like it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun when you really get into it. I think due to the size of the world and the kind of distance between some of the like quest hubs, they started these traders around the world that you can sell your items that you've looted to. Also, always check out what they've got for sale because they do sell good stuff. So it's worth checking to see what they've got. A lot of the items in the game are really good and can be used for different builds. So it's worth just having a double check what's there. And you don't have to drag and drop. You can actually shift left click to sell as well. So I just didn't realize until afterwards. So I think it took me probably about 45 minutes to get to the first boss. It's basically the starting area, like I mentioned. It's introduced you to the game. There's a whole storyline behind this griffin. I'll obviously leave you guys to find out. I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, the boss fights are pretty good. They have a lot of different types of skills. Some of them are telegraphed, some of them aren't. The telegraph skills on this guy you really want to avoid because he will nearly kill you with them. And the other skills, they do a lot of damage as well, but actually this one here is really nasty and will kill you. So you got to be careful. But as long as you're good at these kind of things and can avoid the attacks, you'll be pretty good. And you'll be able to take the guy down. It probably took me like 5-10 minutes to kill him the first time, I think. But again, this is just an introduction to the game, so he's probably a lot easier than the later bosses will be. And you can see me utilising my not maxed out, my tricked out spin attack is now in a whirlwind and does a lot more damage than it used to. So that's pretty cool, but it's like a one-trick pony at the moment. You do obviously get to unlock other skills later on, and you can have a nice variety of skills to choose from. I mean, loot is pretty good in this game. Obviously, the bosses drop the good stuff. So, you'll probably have to throw away some of the stuff that you've collected in the game. But, yeah, loot is pretty decent. You'll always find something useful to use. After you've killed the boss, you'll then work your way towards the first kind of little town hub that you can work out of. Here you'll have access to your bank where you can store items, and then you'll have places where you can buy and sell stuff, as well as a load of people that give out missions and so on. I mean, obviously your bank there, you can store a lot of items in for the builds, and here you can buy and sell items like the traders that we found in the open world. And you can always teleport back here, and then teleport back to where you teleported from using, it's like town portal kind of spell, like all other action RPGs, I guess. So nothing new there. So yeah, obviously the town hub is used for trading and so on. I'm going to guess in the multiplayer you'll be able to group up with other players here eventually and go out and do quests. Let's take a quick look at the world map because it's actually pretty large. This area here we looked at is the starting area. Then you move on to this area here and you kind of work your way up to the town we're in at the moment. I picked up a load of other quests now, and these areas that you're seeing highlighted are quest areas. So as you can see, the map's pretty large, and I honestly don't know how big it's actually going to be, or how big it is at the moment. I'll have to get into it some more. But yeah, there's I guess there's scope there for this to be a very large game. So we'll have to wait and see. One last thing I did want to mention is there's in the towns you usually get these ritual areas. You can reset your skill points here, or you can actually spend some gold to make the game a bit harder, or you can make the kind of your enemies in the previous zones harder. So you can actually go back to the previous zones, and they're useful for you to go back to because you've made the enemies harder, so you can skill up and so on in those areas as well. I think it's quite a different take on it. I've not seen this done before. It's a pretty cool idea. So yeah, you can literally make the previous areas harder, respawn the mobs there and go back and run through the area, and it won't be a cakewalk. Anyway guys, that's a quick first impressions of Titan Quest 2 that's just dropped into early access. Like I mentioned before, I enjoyed the original games and I was looking forward to this one, so I'm going to spend a bit more time with it, I think, over the weeks. I don't know if I'll do any other videos on it, but yeah, I think it's definitely worth checking out if you like action RPGs. It's a decent price at the moment. It's actually cheaper now in early access than it's going to be when it fully releases. That's how things should be, I think. And yeah, we do have a massive Path of Exile 2 update coming up the end of August. But I think this is different enough that people who like action RPGs and looking for something slightly different, it's probably worth a look. Now, other than the performance issues I've mentioned earlier, I've not come across any major bugs or anything at the moment. The WASD controls are a bit clunky. Maybe that'll get fixed as it goes along. But other than that, the game seems to work perfectly fine. No crashes or anything. But I do have a high-end system, so I can't comment what it's going to be like for lower-end devices. So, I mean, I would have a check around, look on the forums, check out some other videos as well, just to see what it performs like on other hardware. I just want to say thanks to everyone who's watched. If you want to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe. I'm almost at the 2,000 subscriber mark, so that's pretty cool. I never thought I'd get that far, but here we are. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video.